Good evening, everyone. November 20th, 2019. Meeting of the Interboro Board of School Directors to order. Ms. Caldwell, will we have a roll call?
Ms. Fagan? Mr. Harris?
Here.
Mr. Goldsboro?
Here.
Ms. Verkio? Here. Ms. Joseph? Here. Ms. Alonso? Here. Mr. Evans?
Here.
Mr. Chabot?
Here.
Mr. Cups?
Here. Mr. Evans, could we have the invocation?
Heavenly Father, please hear our prayer. Bless all schools, colleges, and especially the Interboro School District. And grant to this board in the deliberations this evening the spirit of wisdom, truth, and knowledge. What is undertaken always be done in charity and in peace, and what we do might be for the benefit of others. All this we ask in your name. Amen. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We had two executive sessions prior to the meeting for litigation issues that we're involved in. Now we'll do our reports from our Francesca Parker.
For the Kindergarten Academy, our students took part in a Veterans Day celebration on November 12th, and students wore their red, white, and blue. The Fall Book Fair will begin on November 21st and will be open for parents the following week as well. The week of November 25th, there will be no school for students due to parent conferences. Please plan to come in to meet your child's teachers during the available times. If you're unable to make the conference in person, please arrange to have a telephone conference with your child's teacher. October was filled with many activities, which included field trips to Highland Orchards and John Hines, along with the annual harvest celebration, which the children did a great job performing. For Glen Olden School, in a world where you can be anything, be kind. Each week in October began with spreading kindness. We invited community members, parents, and teachers to greet the students outside as they arrive at school. It is amazing the impact that the simple word hi can have on someone. Finally, on November 1st, we had a Kindness Spirit Day, and students were permitted to wear their new Kindness Matters t-shirts. Mrs. Montgomery Lewis organized a clothing, shoe, and household drive to benefit our home and school. We collected 2,678 pounds for a donation of $535.60. We will be doing another one in the spring. The fourth graders at Glen Olden visited the Exelon Energy Education Center in Fairway Hills. They investigated different ways to generate the electricity used in their home and created their own wind turbines. While there, they also worked in teams to problem solve ways to save electricity based on how much energy everyday household items use. Middle school kicked off the month in style with a masquerade dance. Students came ready to have a great time. Halloween came early on Sunday, October 27th, and the weather cleared up just in time for our trunk or treat event. It was a great event to bring families together and for the kids to safely walk around in their costumes to each car. Thank you to our home and school for hosting a great event. Halloween was in full effect at Glen Olden. Each class chose a theme such as 90s, Disney, BU, and many others. They then designed a poster and dressed up as that theme. Elementary classes then participated in parties and other festive events. 8th grade had a smashing Halloween at the Hedgegrove Theater. Students enjoyed a theatrical rendition of the Tales of Edgar Allan Poe. We are currently collecting candy that students are generously bringing in on their own to send to the troops. At Norwood, middle school fall fitness was held at the South Avenue Field on Friday, October 18th. Home and School sponsored a color run held on Saturday, October 19th. Trunk or Treat was held on Sunday, October 27th, and Norwood students who purchased tickets prior to 10:18 received a VIP ticket that allowed them to enter 30 minutes prior to the start of the event. Halloween celebrations were held for grades 1 through 5, and our middle school, who turned in 3 gold coins, were able to dress up and attend a dance in the gym. At Prospect Park, the past several weeks have been very busy. Despite the wet weather, we still had our annual Halloween parade with a tremendous turnout of parents, family, friends, and community members who came out to see all the wonderfully spooky costumes. Our school held the annual Fall Book Fair and offered a family book night where families returned to school to check out the selection and expand their home libraries. Our 2nd graders enjoyed a trip to Sugartown Strawberries for a lesson on farming along with a hayride and pumpkin picking. Our middle school students kept with the holiday spirit as nearly 200 students attending the Student Council Halloween dance and had a great time. At Tinicum, on Wednesday, October 2nd, our school participated in the Walk to School Day. Staff, teachers, students, parents, and community members walked from Manor Field to Tinicum School to celebrate the benefits of walking and pedestrian safety. Everyone enjoyed the walk. On Thursday, October 10th, the Tinicum Fire Company came to our school with many pieces of their equipment. Our first, second, and third grade students had a great time learning about fire prevention and seeing the trucks. Thank you to the members of the Tinicum Fire Company who volunteered their time. We had a beautiful day on Friday, October 11th, for our annual diabetes walk. This year, 2 students, Allison Kerster, 5th grade from Tinicum, and Adriana Ball, 11th grade, spoke to our students about their diabetes experiences. Our school donated all the funds raised to the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. At the high school, on October 11th and 12th, homecoming weekend started with the pep rally Friday afternoon, followed by a Friday night parade with class floats and the homecoming court. The Bucks were hosted Penwood, and the students had fun showing their class and Buck pride. The students had a great time at the homecoming dance Saturday night, and congratulations to prom king and queen Sean Serpico and Madison Deal. On October 18th, the Fall Festival was a huge success with Ridley, Marple, Garnet Valley, and Springfield participating. The marching band and cheerleaders led the parade from the South Avenue complex to the high school. The students participated in sporting events, hay rides, and a dance celebration. On October 28th, the Powder Puff football game was held Monday night with the seniors pulling out a victory score 20-18. This concludes our report.
Thank you, Ms. Walker. Very nice job. Okay, moving on to number 3, recognition, Mr. Riley.
Thank you, Mr. Phelps. At this time, I'd like to invite Rachel Lambert up as we present to our therapy dogs, our Pause to Learn therapy dogs, their official graduation. This evening. Julie, come on in. You're good. We're going to move around and let the dogs stay where they are.
They brought such an entourage.
Yeah, they do. This is very impressive, I have to say.
We should have dogs at every meeting.
I agree. I completely agree. I do just want to say, it was interesting watching the dogs walk down the hall and into this meeting, how it like lightened the mood. And we have seen the same in all the classrooms that the dogs have visited, even in the hallways and what have you. I do want to say thank you so much to the support of the board. I've heard nothing but positive reactions from parents, students, teachers about the dogs in our buildings. And we are like trend setting in some respects because people don't understand that it can be done, and it is getting done. Thank you with the help of Alliance Therapy Dogs, and that was a tremendous partnership that we've made with them. But I really want to say thank you to the teachers who volunteered to do this. I don't think we knew how much effort and time it would take, but it does. And to be honest, the dogs are exhausted at the end of the day because they are constantly giving of their time and their energy, which is a great thing. So I do want to say thank you to everyone.
I would just, maybe that 1 or 2 of the teachers who have been bringing the dogs to school might want to share a story or a change that you have noticed in your classroom or with a particular student and how it is having the dogs in the classrooms have positively affected a student or a class. I don't know if there's anyone who would be willing to share. Holly, you're right here.
I'm just going to say Steeded if that's all right, because she's calm right now. Very excited when she sees other dogs wanting to play with them. I am the school counselor at Prospect Park. She comes with me typically on Mondays and Fridays. I meet with individual appointments with kids. I do groups with kids. I go into classrooms. Specifically with my autistic students, she is amazing. I have some phenomenal pictures of her as far as up as an 8th grader, and then I have a 5th grader who was a little timid of her at first, and now the other day he said to me, take my picture with her. So she just gets into a role when she gets in. She gets very excited coming into her. She's part boxer, so those of you that know boxers, they have that hyper part to her. But as soon as the kids come in, she gets right into her role and calms down and lets everybody pet her. And she does come home and sleep the whole rest of the night because she doesn't work. So it's a phenomenal program. I've seen the benefits. It's terrific. The kids want me to bring her every day, but it's too much for her. So this
Anyone
is
else?
Maggie May.
Thank you very much. Anyone else like to, Wendy? Thank you.
Hi, I'm Wendy King. I teach third grade at Prospect, and this is Crosby, just a tiny little pub, obviously. I try to bring Crosby 2 days a week. Sometimes I only bring him for the afternoons. Obviously, he does take up a lot of room, and as a full-time classroom teacher, it makes it a little bit more difficult. One of my cool stories is our reading specialist called home to kind of touch base with some Title I families and see how their kids were doing at the beginning of the school year. And the one mom said, well, I have so much trouble getting my daughter out of bed in the mornings. And she said, except when she knows Crosby's coming to school. And then she hops out of bed, is dressed and ready before it's even time to go. She loves to come to school when she knows Crosby's going to be there.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Today was I'm Jess Lennox. I teach kindergarten at the Kindergarten Academy. This is my dog Molly. Today was actually her first day coming in, and we had a lockdown drill. And speaking about lockdown drills to kindergarten kids, sometimes you can see the stress in their face. They get really nervous because they can kind of see that I'm nervous. But with Molly there today, it was kind of a sense of calm in the room. The children that I know had a little bit more anxiety. I placed Molly with them, and it was definitely a much more calm experience. I didn't have as many questions afterwards about intruders and what would happen if that were to happen in the school, so they just seemed a little bit more comfortable with Molly being there and having comfort of her.
Thank you, Jess. Anyone else?
I'm Jen Oliveri. I have Reno. He's on the floor, so let's just I'm 8th grade at Norwood School. My 8th graders love him, but I have a lot of really good interactions in the hallways with younger kids that I don't really even know. I had one 3rd or 4th grader call me Reno's lady. He didn't know me, and that was fine. But there's a mostly nonverbal middle school student who stops and says, he's becoming more verbal and stops and says, hi Reno, when Reno's at school. Will stop me and pat me on the arm and pull me over to make sure that he gets to have a moment with Reno. So that's always kind of a little special to me.
Yeah, very. Anyone else? Well, thank you all for sharing your stories. I'm very excited to have this program here, especially I am a dog lover and I see the impact just what my dogs have had on my life. And I do feel that there's value in the dogs coming to school and making it a better place for our kids and for our staff. So I want to thank all the teachers. As Rachel has said, it is wonderful that teachers took the time, did the training, and really wanted to be a participant, because it is not easy to come to work, not only to worry about managing your students, but to now have the dogs. It's a lot, and I know how exhausting it can be, but I think the impact is worth the exhaustion when you get home. So thank you all so very much. I hope that we'll have more teachers, staff who would like to get their dogs trained in the future, and we can continue to grow the program. So I want to thank the board for supporting it as well, and hopefully one day my Rosie will be one of these dogs. We'll see. She needs some work done. So at this point, we'd like to give you, we have a little bandana for all the dogs, and of course we have a certificate. So we'll work our way, and afterwards I'd like to try and get a picture of the group outside together as best we can. So we'll see. All right, this is Maggie May, Queen of the Hill. That is her official name. She's ready to go. Don't go too far. All right. Willie. I didn't see Willie. All right, this is Willie Melanich. Come on over, Will. Congratulations, Willie. Thanks, Kate. All right. Let's do Molly. Back there. All right. Molly, welcome. Congratulations. Molly made that up. Congratulations. Congratulations. All right. Thank you. We've got Reno. Congratulations, Reno. Yes. Yes, don't tree, Crosby. I should have brought treats. All right, we have Crosby, King Crosby of Cottonwood is in the tree. Congratulations. Wendy, you're here for a double tonight. All right, and last but not least, we have Bailey.
Congratulations, Bailey.
Bailey. Congratulations. All right, 2019 graduation class of next, I want to move on to the Wendy. How about if we do you last? Okay. How's that? Wendy is also being recognized for 30 years of service, so she's going to come back in. Tonight we are recognizing 4 Interboro staff members, teachers, that have provided or given 30 years of service to the Interboro School District. I always look forward to this because 30 years in the education field is a long time. It just shows the dedication to our district and to the teaching profession. So how about if we call up Dan Mills, who will be recognizing Linda Mullen, PE health teacher at Norwood School. Yes, stay over there.
Before we get started, I just want to remind the people in the room that the therapy dog program did start in Norwood School with our life skills students, and then it was adopted by Ms. Lambert and Mrs. Riley. Thought it was a great idea. We actually had a therapy pony too at one time for life skills kids. So I'm very proud that the therapy dog program, the kids love reading to them. It's worked, it's been proven, but I just want to remind everybody where it started. Very proud of that. As I'm very proud of my lovely assistant, Ms. Cabito, who's here with me tonight to recognize Dr. Mullen for 30 years of service to the Interboro School District. Dr. Mullen graduated from Springfield High School. I know that because when my son played football there for Pancras and I went through the lobby, her trophy, Wall of Fame trophy is in the showcase, was an excellent athlete at Springfield High School. I came back and said, Dr. Mullen, I saw the trophy last night. That was pretty cool. She then went on to graduate from the University of Delaware with a Bachelor of Science in Physical Education. After spending 2 years working in TV Guide, Dr. Mullen was able to obtain a position at Norwood School teaching health and physical education. She got a master's degree in computer education from Widener University and her administrative certificate from Penn State in the ensuing years. After 2 years in administration at Tennecomm, she had enough. She returned to Norwood School. Dr. Mullen then pursued, I teach her all the time, she made a good choice. Dr. Mullen then pursued her doctorate in computer education at Kennedy Western University. Dr. Mullen has been involved with the District Safety Committee for over 20 years, and also our School Safety Committee. She has also organized No Talent Show that raised over $2,000 for Loaves and Fishes Food Bank, although she gives full credit to the staff who put on the production. She has reached out to the community in many ways, a community health fair, a program about inhaled abuse shortly after one of our students died from this dangerous form of getting high, and a middle school health fair that featured careers in hospitals. She has a 1.43 goals against average in our faculty versus 8th grade fluoride game. She does an excellent job running our bingo for the home school. Dr. Mullen is an institution in the Norwood community. She teaches children of many of her former students, and she is now a colleague to 7 of her former students as well. What stands out about Dr. Mullen is her passion for teaching, physical education, and her desire to educate all students. Regardless of the ability levels, everything Dr. Mullen does is for the good of children and the school. In Dr. Mullen's spare time, she enjoys coaching her nephews in their many sports. She is also an avid dog lover, as am I. I want to get my little dog champ therapy trained. Now he's not ready for it either. And she enjoys traveling with her family. Congratulations to Dr. Mullen for an amazing 30 years. She really deserves it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mills, Ms. Cabito.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Mr. Johnston, how about coming up and recognizing Kurt McGrady?
Thank you. Kirk begged me to keep this short, so I will try to respect that, but I'm going to try to see it. So it's my distinct pleasure to recognize Mr. McGrady for this award tonight. And from the moment I met Mr. McGrady, he has been supportive and has always wanted what's best for Interboro and his students. You cannot find a student in this building that is current student or former students that has anything negative to say about Mr. McGrady. The respect and adoration is between the student and the teacher is evident in every classroom. He is a huge asset to the school and this district. Mr. McGrady always comes up with a solution when it's needed and helps wherever he is needed and for whomever help is needed. Mr. McGrady always shares his good news with his students, both inside and outside the classroom. He's the type of educator who understands it's not just about the grades, but the personal connection he makes with his students is just as important. He's always willing to go the extra mile. Yeah, so, and I wanted to tell one story very quickly is here that I have a freshman son who's having a lot of problems in language arts right now, so I reached out to the teacher and I expressed all my concerns. We were on the phone for a while, and at the end of me voicing it, and I had gotten back to school night, and this is an older gentleman who was teaching the language arts class. There was dead silence on the other end of the phone, and he said, "You're at Interboro, right?" "Yes, I'm at Interboro." "Mr. McGrady still there?" I thought we were talking about a language arts grade and said it was about Mr. McGrady. But the amazing thing about that is when I went and talked to Kirk about it, Kirk literally went back to his shelf, pulled the yearbook off, knew exactly who I was talking about. It was Kirk's your first year, I believe, and then came back and he mentioned what impact Mr. McGrady had on him as a teacher. This is man, that many years later, and it was he didn't really care about the language arts grade. He just wanted to. Kirk is also capable of making small miracles happen in the high school. He is able to make kids run long distances, convince them it's good for them, and collect garbage throughout the community at the same time. I can't get my sons to pick up their laundry, and Kirk has them picking up trash in the neighborhood. But we receive letters from community members all the time about what Kirk and his team are doing, and it's such an invaluable asset for us. However, I would also be remiss if I did not fail to mention that Kirk, on October, we just acknowledged him as one of the winningest coaches in Interboro history. In October, we presented Kirk with a plaque for achieving between cross-country and track over 860 wins as a track and cross-country coach. Awesome. So, parents and community, I congratulate you and thank you for all you do, sir.
All right, Mr. Kelly has two staff members, teachers this evening. How about if we do Mrs. Martin first? All right, Mrs. King, you're coming up too. With the pumping.
First, I apologize. I bit my tongue earlier at school. Literally, not figuratively, I bit my tongue. And I'm going to be talking like this. I apologize. But so I know tonight is about Wendy and Stephanie, but for a moment I'm going to be selfish and make this about me. In over 20 years of public education and 7 years here at the Interboro School District, I've been blessed in knowing and working alongside some of the finest educators in the county and across the state. I've worked with numerous teachers, recognized and honored for outstanding work, including one winner of the Pennsylvania Teacher of the Year Award and 3 winners of the Excellence in Teaching Award. I have watched so many teachers work tirelessly to make sure their students are getting the very best education possible. I've also seen amazing levels of dedication well beyond the classroom. I have worked with teachers who have spent hundreds of their own dollars to make sure their students have what they need, from school supplies to warm clothing to gifts around the holidays and to even food. I've worked with the best of the best, and Wendy and Steph are 2 of the very best teachers that I've ever worked with. Ms. King is known for her dedication to her students in and out of the classroom, and for yielding tremendous academic success in her students year after year. Her scores are always among the top in the district and across the county. She's also the teacher who I can count on and call on year after year when it is time to make class lists for the upcoming school years, as we look to her to take on some of our students who have the most significant needs. And I I won't be specific here about what I want to tell you, but I do want to point something out to you. There's something we should all be aware of, and I know she wouldn't want me to be specific, that's why I'm being non-specific, but I just will say this. There is far more to her generosity than her colleagues are aware of, so I'll leave it at that. Earlier this year, Ms. King was part of the Pause to Learn, as you can obviously tell. Seeing Crosby in the building a few times a week has brought so much joy and support to many of her students and to our staff. Wendy has also been a member or a building representative for the teachers, helping to communicate concerns and problems in order to find solutions and make our school a better place to teach and learn. Mrs. Martin is also known for her dedication both toward her academic program and toward her students. She is one of our most successful special education teachers, as we typically see students making tremendous strides towards their goals. It is not unusual to see students progress to the point of having their special education services reduced due to the success they've had following their time with Ms. Martin. She's also a teacher that I turn to when I need to discuss special education plans and how we want to support specific students with specific needs. And I know she puts in the time to make sure her students know they are special, that they matter, and that the people in our school truly care about them. I have heard Ms. Martin described as a true buff. She grew up here, she went to school here, she stayed here to raise a family, and she devoted her career to her hometown as she proudly works here. A great example of someone who gives back by paying it forward. So what is this that engenders such high regard, trust, affection, and gratitude? Here are just a few of the many wonderful qualities that define Wendy and Stephanie's distinguished career. 1, dedication. I know an entire team of teachers who put long hours into their profession because they believe that is what it will take to do the job right. Wendy and Steph take the dedication to a new level, as their commitment extends beyond the classroom, beyond teaching and learning, to include a motherly role as they provide not just a safe learning environment, but also an understanding that I am here for you, I will not let you down, and you can count on me. 2, caring. A teacher's capacity for caring is limitless, and the care that Steph and Wendy have for their students is evident, irrespective of the additional work it undoubtedly creates for them, and the precedent it may be setting by establishing new expectations. Mrs. Martin and Ms. King put their students first, and their students love them for it. If I were to keep score of how often students tell me who their favorite teachers were, these 2 would be among the leaders. And 3, avoiding the spotlight. I have hinted to this already, but it is still worth noting the selflessness and modesty of 2 great teachers. Over the years, both Wendy and Steph have played a big part in making Prospect Park a wonderful place. They participate in committees, are quick to respond and give feedback when it's needed to make improvements. They are quick to recognize a need in their students and take the steps necessary to make sure it is addressed, often without the students ever knowing that they had a part in helping them. Wendy and Steph are respected by their grade partners, the parents of their students, and by the staff as a whole. Their knowledge and expertise make them irreplaceable assets to our school. The Prospect Park community is lucky to have Mrs. Martin and Mrs. King, and I hope that they continue to have them for many more years.
Thank you. Say goodbye.
The board would like to thank the teachers that were just recognized. 30 years is a long time for anything, let alone teaching these kids. I'm sure the stories that you could tell us would be unbelievable. Second of all, I want to thank Mr. Mills and Ms. Lambert for the dog program. I know it started in Norwood. I was going to recognize you for it. And myself and Mr. Goldsboro went to a science fair over there. And we met a little kid, a little student that Mr. Mills had brought in. And he was a nonverbal child when they started the program. And while we were there, this little boy, it was so chattery. Mr. Mills, Mr. Mills. And I couldn't even believe that Mr. Mills said this kid was nonverbal 6 months ago. It was unbelievable. So I personally have seen the results of it. So I can't thank Ms. Lambert and Mr. Mills enough. Alrighty, number 4, Mr. Evans, do you have any public comments?
No, sir.
Moving on to number 5.
Motion 5.1 that the following minutes of the regular meeting of the Interboro Board of School Directors held on October 16, 2019 be approved.
Second. Motion has been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 8-0. And next up is solicitor's report. Ms. Meehan.
Yes, thank you. The solicitor's office has been engaged in a variety of matters this month, including policy matters, litigation matters, and contracts.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Evans. Moving on to number 7, Mr. Evans.
Motion from the Financial Department, motion 7.1 that the attached treasurer's report for the month ending October 31st, 2019 be approved.
Second. Motion has been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 8-0. Next motion, Mr. Evans.
Motion 7.2 that fund disbursements in the amount of $3,957,007.65 be approved.
Second. Motion has been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 8-0. Next up is 7.3.
Motion to approve the budget transfers for the 2019-2020 school year.
Second. Motion has been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 8-0. Number 8, is there any correspondence, Mr. Evans?
No, sir.
Moving right on to number 9. 9.1, Finance Meeting, Mr. Chavon.
Thank you, Mr. Phelps. First item on the agenda, a representative from Frazier presented his proposal for the renewal of our copier and printer contract. Mr. High School and the Central Administration recommended continuing our relationship with Frazier because all stakeholders are satisfied with the company. Some of the highlights of the new proposal include: it is a 3-year contract. It is a 2% increase in cost from $77,940 to $82,000. But we will see savings from our paper management software. This will allow administrative oversight. They will also replace equipment with new equipment, add additional devices, consolidate some to create efficiencies, update software, and training is included with the contract. That is on the agenda for approval tonight. The next item was a substitute teacher service conversation. Mr. Criscuolo explained to the board that the countrywide teacher shortage is impacting the pool of substitute teachers as well. We currently hire our own substitutes at a pay of $100 a day, but it is really $142 with retirement, Social Security, unemployment, and workers' comp. If we go to a teacher or substitute teacher service, we would only need to pay $131 a day because we will be responsible for the benefits. This would save the district $11.66 per sub per day. Mr. Criscuolo also explained the potential of going to a building substitute model, which would pay $150 a day. No decision was made. The committee asked Mr. Criscuolo to put together information on the substitute services that are available so that the board can make an informed decision come budget season. Mr. High School also shared an update on the state and independent audit timeline. The state auditors have been coming in the last couple of weeks and are reviewing the PIMS data, financial statements, and transportation information. There's no date for the audit to be submitted to the board as of right now. The independent auditors are done their field work. The draft of the audit will be reviewed by the audit committee in December, and will be on the board agenda for next month. Finally, all board members had the opportunity to ask questions about the preliminary financial statements. There will be no finance meeting in December, so we will resume finance committee meetings in January to start discussions on the budget. That is all.
Thank you, Mr. Shabbat. Moving on to 9.2, GBO, Mr. Goldsboro.
Thank you, Mr. Phelps. We had a meeting of the GBO committee on November 4th. The first item on the GBO agenda was the comprehensive plan revision overview, and that was gone over by Dr. Ekman. In that comprehensive plan overview, the Pennsylvania Department of Education has created a new process based on future-ready practices, and due to the change, some of the phase one districts, which Interboro is part of, they only have to require a little bit of updating before November 30th. And so those items were going over as to what things need to be updated. And then the timeline for the full plan submission was gone over and detail and forming a steering committee, which is something that's happening this month, and then the other things that go along with that was presented. The second item on the GBO committee meeting was the Future Ready Index that was presented by Mr. Abbott, and taking a look at overall district-wide, and then school by school, the administrators from school came up, and they went over specifically looking at some of their strengths and some of their weaknesses, both in the math and the English and language arts, and also the science portions of the Future Ready Index that is available online. And also they went over how the effects of attendance has greatly changed, and the efforts that they've gone through to just make sure that they have kids in school, and how that has greatly increased, and what a good job that they've done there. Overall, it looks like things in the English and language arts and science, those scores have been pretty good, with a little bit up, a little bit down, depending on the different schools and the different groups of students. But overall, math seems to be an area of that is very much needed to be looked at based upon that, and that's also indicative of statewide also. Again, as Mr. Strone stated, we will be having a finance meeting. We also will be having a GBO meeting in December. We will continue with the GBO meeting in January.
Thank you, Mr. Goldsboro. Moving on to 9.3, legislative update, Ms. Garecchio.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Phelps. Due to the lack of activity going on in Harrisburg, we did not. The November meeting ended up being canceled at the last minute, basically because of the elections also and a lot of school board reorganizations. So, but there was just two items that they passed on. One was that they wanted to put out to everybody and people aware of House Bill 1800, which advanced out of the House Education Committee this past Monday, November 18th. And for anybody who doesn't know, House Bill 1800 is a voucher bill that Representative Mike Turzai introduced in September, which would create a pilot voucher program in Harrisburg, giving Harrisburg students $8,200 scholarships to attend private schools. The Harrisburg School District was chosen for this pilot program since their district was in distress and is now in financial recovery, and they entered into state receivership in June. Under Turzai's proposal, the Harrisburg School District and the state would each pay half of the cost of the $8,200. And students who are presently in private and religious schools who have never attended any Harrisburg schools would also be eligible for vouchers under this program, draining the district even more with sorely needed funding. So as written, this bill would only apply to Harrisburg, but it could potentially apply to other school districts in Pennsylvania if they should enter receivership. Although House Bill 1800 does not directly affect Delaware County or Interboro School District, the superintendents of Delaware County school districts have joined forces to voice their opinion with a joint letter to the representatives in opposition to House Bill 1800. Mrs. Riley, on behalf of Interboro, has signed off on this letter along with the other superintendents in Delaware County. And on a good note, on October 30th, Governor Wolf did sign House Bill 265, which is now Act 76, which is part of the governor's PA Smart website, and part of the law establishes provisions that support career and technical education and workforce development in Pennsylvania. The PA Smart website, basically it's like for high school students or adults, providing easy access to information and links regarding apprenticeships, career and technical education resources for individuals with disabilities and more, opening a wide range of possibilities for just about any young professional. It includes opportunities for those interested in becoming electricians and plumbers, and some of the 21st century careers, including computer science and healthcare. The focus on career and technical education is to try to get rid of the stigma that you have to go to college or a career technical school. You don't have to graduate with debt. You can more often or not get into a trade through a union that pays for you to go to an apprenticeship school to learn more without student debt. The governor has secured $70 million in funding for the Workforce Development Initiative, with $30 million being invested in job training. Streamlining efforts and promotional campaigns such as these could prove to stimulate enrollment at career and technical institutes throughout the state and show young students that there is no shame in the trades, rather that there are plenty of lucrative advantages. And that's it for now. The next Legislative Council meeting of the Delaware County School Board is scheduled for Wednesday, December 11th, 2019, and will be held at the Delaware County Intermediate Union in Virginia. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rector. We move on to 924 Delaware County Community College, Mr. Wolfgang.
Thank you, Mr. Phelps. Yes, there was a meeting on Wednesday, October 30th, 2019. There was an annual appreciation dinner for sponsoring school board directors and superintendents and principals that took place there. At that time, a presentation was made about the Prendergast building and the purchase of the property and the plans as to what it's going to look like. I do have pictures in here as to what some of the artist renderings are going to look like, and also what the entrances are going to be looking like also. So that was gone over and why they were going to be doing that. After that particular meeting, by the way, the food was really good. It was quite good. After that meeting, then we did have a liaison meeting. At the liaison meeting, they talked about the 2020-2021 budget for sponsorship, and the amounts that they're looking for are going to be a 1% increase. This current fiscal year, we are giving to Delaware County Community College $448,515 as of for the 2020-2021 school year. It would be $460,722. After that, they talked about future meetings. They said that any updates really they can do through email in January. They used to have a meeting in January, and they're going to not have that and just send out email with any of those updates. So once I get that update, I can put that in either the January or the February school board, update the school board about that. Then our next meeting is supposed to be in April, in which they give us the packet of information about resolutions and accepting that. I had asked if we might be able to get that information prior to that meeting, so that we as a board can look at it, and I can go as the liaison and ask any questions at that meeting that might be appropriate, because we had questions last year. So there was some pushback a little bit, because their board has to they have to go over and try to approve everything, and it's a short window. They said, could you have it, if we had it a week ahead of time or a couple weeks ahead of time. I said that should be enough. So if I get that information, I will send that out at the end of March, And I will ask everyone to please take a good hard look at that and see if you have any questions, and please send them my way so that I can bring that to their attention. I also asked if we could get an update as to enrollments, as to where we are with people that, from Interboro that are going there. And I did get that update, which I did send out to the rest of the board, I think. But currently, there are around 560 students that attend. That was around that. Enrollments have changed a little bit, but it's around 560 students from Interboro are enrolled, and specifically within the district. That means residents within the Interboro School District. And currently, we have 32 students, I do believe, that are duly enrolled there. The other question that I asked was, what's the difference if do non-sponsoring school districts get a chance to have dual enrollment? And they do. Their costs are $125 a credit. Sponsoring school districts are $63 per credit. So that's the latest information that I have. And our next meeting, like I said, won't be until April, but we should be getting an update of stuff in January.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think that's a great idea to get that information.
Right.
Even a little bit earlier.
Yes.
Moving on to 9.5, Delaware County Intermediate Unit, Mr. Harris.
Thank you. Thanks for coming out. I've never been upstate before. I think that was a pleasure. The Delaware County Intermediate Unit met on November 6, 2019. Some of the highlights are contract with Western Psychology Services to provide a 2-day clinical training, contract with Chester Scholars Academy Charter School for the DCIU to provide English language development services. We also appointed Dr. Stephen Boots as the new Director of Career Technologies Education. Employment contract with Dr. Shelley Piola as the Continuing Assistant Director from November 7, 2019 to November 6, 2023. Approved the Delaware County Technical High School Comprehensive Plan. A contract with Franklin Mint Federal Credit Union to be the Delco IQ Orthodont Quiz Master. And then we also had awarded the contract with Keen Compressed Gas Company, lowest responsible bidder for the welding equipment. Our next meeting will be December 4th at 7:45 at the Morton Center. For more news and happenings, go to dciu.org. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. Moving on to 9.6, Community Outreach, Ms. Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Phelps. Just wanted to state that for the Patriot Pen and DoD scholarship competitions, we had tons of submissions. We had approximately 150 Patriot Pen submissions, around 40 Voice of Democracy submissions. So out of the 150 Patriot Pen submissions, there have been 12 overall winners, 3 from every school, first, second, and third place that are at the post level. And we have, then we have for district, 2 submissions that are, then they went on to the district level, to which some of our entries also won, and we have 2 winners that are proceeding on to state. So to the state level, so the high school, the top Patriot Pen winner and the top district winner are moving on to state. We also had numerous entries for the Smart Mar VFW National Citizenship Education Teacher of the Year Award. So those names have also been proceeded to district, and all 3 Interboro entries are moving on to state. So we'll know further, obviously, once state makes judgments, I believe mid-December, and we'll announce the names shortly, but we have a bunch of winners that, names will be forthcoming.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. At this time, Ms. Parker, you can excuse me.
Thank you.
I know it's out of order, but I just wanted to thank Ms. Tessa for her stellar acting ability to play last week. 4 shows of The Curious Savage. played an important part and played well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations for Jeff.
Moving on to number 10, personnel.
From the Office of Personnel, that the following personal actions be approved, starting with 10.1 to 10.10 on page 5.
Second.
Motions have been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried 8-0. Next motion, Mr. Evans.
Also from the Office of Personnel, motion with regret that the following retirements be accepted. Margaret Brown, teacher at Kennington School, with 22 years of service to the district, be approved for retirement, effective January 3rd, 2020.
Second.
Motion has been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 8-0. Next motion, Mr.
I'm sorry, motion 11.2, Joan Webb, personal care assistant at Norwood School with 13 years of service to the district, be approved for retirement, effective January 31st, 2020.
Second.
Motion has been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 8-0. I would just like to thank the teachers. 22 years, it's not 30 years, but it's still a long time. It's a lot of dedication, and they do a great job. Number 12, Mr. Evans.
From the Office of Curriculum and Instruction, motion that the following items be approved, 12.1 to 12.10, beginning on page 6 and ending on page 7.
Second.
Motions have been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried 8-0. Next up, Mr. Evans.
From the Office of Special Education and Pupil Services, motion that the following items be approved, 13.1 to 13.7, ending on page 8.
Second.
Motions have been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried 8-0. Next up, Mr. Evans.
From the Office of Technology, motion that the following items be approved, 14.1 to 14.5.
Second.
Motions have been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried 8-0. Next motion, Mr. Evans.
From the Office of Facilities, motion that the following items be approved, that the Board of School Directors approve the contract and license agreement with TransFinder Transportation Software at a cost not to exceed $20,000 to be paid from district funds.
Second.
Motion has been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 8-0. Next motion, Mr. Evans.
Motion 16, that the Board of School Directors approve Bernadette Riley, Valerie Ekman, and Mark Avable to attend the 2020 PDE Data Summit in Hershey, PA, from March 16, 2020 through March 18, 2020, at a cost not to exceed $1,875 paid from district funds.
Second.
Motion has been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 8-0. Next motion, Mr. Evans.
Motion 17 is a roll call motion that the Board of School Directors approve the following MOU between the Interboro School District and the Interboro Education Association under the terms and conditions of the collective bargaining agreement for differentiated supervision.
Second.
Motion has been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or comments from the board?
Just a quick comment. I want to thank the curriculum department and the IEA for piloting this program and then coming to an agreement for what works best for the teachers, the administration, and all our end goal is what's best for the students. So I just want to thank the curriculum department and the union for coming together with us.
Thank you, Mr. Schmidt. Yes, we heard a lot of positive feedback on this. And, Teachers like it, the administrators like it, everybody. I think it's good for the whole district, so. Do we have a roll call, Ms. Vogel?
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Goldsboro?
Yes.
Ms. Ricchio?
Yes.
Ms. Joseph?
Yes.
Ms. Alonso? Yes. Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Chabon?
Yes.
Mr. Phelps?
Yes. Motion carries 8-0. Next motion. Do we have any old business? Do we have any new business? We will now hear from our superintendent, Ms. Riley.
Thank you, Mr. Phelps. I just wanted to remind all of our parents in students in grades pre-K to 8 that conferences are next week. So students are off November 25th, 26th, and 27th. The high school is in session and evening conferences are being held Tuesday evening. They also have an early dismissal on Wednesday at 11:20 for the Thanksgiving holiday. If you do not have a conference already scheduled but have questions, please contact your child's teacher about their report card or the school office, and someone will get back to you to help with whatever the needs might be. On Friday, November 15th, the district had the pleasure of welcoming Governor Wolf to the Kindergarten Academy as we are recipients of the PA Smart Grant. Governor Wolf talked with Mrs. Hokinson and our kindergarten students who are using the Kivo robots to learn about coding and programming. The PA Smart program funds are to expand STEM education in classrooms across the state. The PA Smart Grant also enabled teachers in the school district to attend multiple workshops on design thinking, coding, and engineering, as well as participate in the Pennsylvania Computer Science for All Summit held by the Department of Ed. From that experience, we created a pre-K to 5 computer science curriculum that blends hands-on and technology-based programming. I want to thank all the board members and our administrators who attended and participated in that. It really was a wonderful event. I hope that the governor will come back and visit us again. We were fortunate to apply and receive the grant, and we will continue to apply as those funds do continue to flow through Harrisburg. So that was really a great event.
Yes, it was.
And finally, I just want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. It's really hard to believe we are entering into the holiday season. The annual Interboro Ridley football game will be on Thanksgiving morning at Ridley at the Phil Marion Field. The game begins at 10 o'clock. I hope to see a lot of folks out there. And of course, go Bucks. Thank you.
Do we have any comments on the board destination?
Just to go off what Ms. Riley said about Governor Wolf, one of my friends is a coach, baseball coach, and his baseball team won the state championship and went to Capitol. And I guess Governor Wolf asked him, "Where are you from?" And he said, "Interboro." And he actually said, "Oh, I was just there Friday. What you're doing is great." And he said he wanted to come back. So it was just cool. Not that he didn't just say it to our face because he was here, that he remembered what we do and, he wanted to come back and see us. So it was pretty cool.
Thank you for sharing.
Yes, Mr.
I also want to jump on that one too. It was a nice turnout. Plus, I want to thank the staff and all the facilities who brought that program, that meeting together. It was really nicely done. And you guys did a great job. Your team did a great job back there.
They worked very hard, very hard.
Any other comments? Myself, I would like to thank Mr. Abigail for writing that grant. Great job. I give us the money for that. Can't thank enough our state reps, Mr. DeLusso, Senator Corning, Governor Wolf. They really support Interboro. That, I mean, you can feel it. They really are looking out for us, and we appreciate it. I think they definitely have our best interests at heart when they're up there putting the triggers in. Any other comments? Okay, hearing none, on Tuesday, December 3rd, 2019, the board reorganization meeting will be held at 7 p.m. in the boardroom of the administration building. The next work session of the Interboro Board of School Directors will be convened in the boardroom of the administration building on Monday, December 16th, 2019 at 7 p.m. The next regularly monthly public meeting the Interboro Board of School Directors will be convened in the boardroom of the administration building on Wednesday, December 18th 2018 at 7 p.m. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for coming.